Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
It's week 2 in the studio, and the action has been heating up for the Auburn Tigers. We have a lot in store for you tonight, and you won't want to miss a second. Auburn has athletes competing on an international stage. Almost every fall sports is entering conference play, and we have an interview with a freshman sensation at the bottom of the half hour. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Barrett Brown.
And I'm John Prowell. Barrett, I know you said the action is heating up, but what else do you know else is on the rise?
I'm glad you said that. Auburn football is where we'll kick things off today. They're now 3-0, but that's not all.
The Auburn Tigers are moving up fast. First Nike, now this. Week 4 in the AP poll, and Auburn is up 2 spots from last week. And now they sit at number 22 in the country?
Homecoming on the Plains did not disappoint. Jordan-Hare Stadium was packed, and if I were you, I would take note on that for our trivia later in the show. That's all the spoilers I'm giving you about the show and about the game. Our sports producer, Sophia Weber, covered the matchup between South Alabama and Auburn on Saturday. She has more from the sidelines now.
The Auburn Tigers take Pat Dye Field to face the South Alabama Jaguars for homecoming.
Auburn wore their all-white uniforms for the first time since 2008, matching a sold-out crowd. Early in the first, Eric Singleton collected 14 yards on an aggressive 4th and 5 call. Seeking a stronger start to their games, the Tigers found it. Jackson Arnold connected with Cam Coleman for 32 yards and the touchdown, putting the Tigers up 7. The Jaguars didn't come out slow either. Tight end Trent Thomas was fired up after their first snap. South Alabama had 170 yards in the air this game. This drive would result in a field goal for the Jaguars. South Alabama would force Auburn to punt, but the Tigers didn't have to wait long for the ball as Crawford would swoop in with the interception. Entering the second quarter, Jackson Arnold would find the corner of the end zone on the ground, adding another 7 to the board. The very next drive, Jackson Arnold would become the first Auburn quarterback with 4 or more rushing touchdowns since Robbie Ashford. Bishop Davenport for South Alabama followed that up with a 20-yard completion to Jeremy Scott for the touchdown. The Jaguars would miss their extra point, adding only 6. Hugh Freeze said this would be a breakout season for Jeremiah Cobb, and right here, he breaks through defenders to be the last score of the half. The Jaguars open up the half with an 11-play drive that is capped off with a Devin Boyson reception. No extra point again. The lone third-quarter drive for the Tigers included 2 go-ahead plays on 4th down with the ball in Jackson Arnold's hands, ending with an Alex McPherson kick, which would be the final scoring drive. It was a quiet fourth quarter, but Jared Smith would get this sack to force a recovered fumble.
1-0 today and 3-0 headed into a conference play, and our team achieved that, so we're going to celebrate that and hopefully get some folks healthy.
Call it a freeze warning, call it the number 24 team in the nation, but the Auburn Tigers hold on 31-15 against a South Alabama team who held their own. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Sophia Weber.
Thanks, Sophia, for the recap. Looking ahead, Auburn will make the trip to Oklahoma to play them for the first time in Norman and only the 3rd time ever. This will also be the beginning of conference play for the Tigers and a true test of where we'll stand for this season. The Tigers have never beat Oklahoma, but Auburn is bringing a key player with them. Jackson Arnold will return to Oklahoma after starting 9 games with the Sooners just last year. Buckle up because we will go from one homecoming game to another. Oklahoma is ranked 11th in the country among the other 11 SEC schools that are in the top 25.
LSU and Tennessee hold steady at their rankings. LSU remains the number 3 team in the country with Tennessee at 15. Everyone else had movement this week.
Georgia moves up 1 after beating Tennessee by 3 in overtime.
Texas moves down 1 despite a win, and their early competition has been as stiff in comparison to others, besides the first week matchup against Ohio State.
South Carolina was cut from their number 11 spot after losing decisively to Vanderbilt. This left the door open for Vanderbilt, who went from unranked to number 20.
Texas A&M moved up 6, being the highest climber, and they beat Notre Dame, which is no small feat in football world. The 1-point victory would be just enough.
Oklahoma moved up 2 spots to be the number 11 team in the country.
Ole Miss is up 4 spots from last week after beating 2 SEC opponents in a row.
Alabama, despite a week 1 loss, has moved up 5 spots and jumped ahead of Tennessee.
To round it out, but Auburn and Missouri jump up 2 spots as well. This season will be a gauntlet for any team that faces the SEC, and when we come back from the break, we'll begin with our Men's Minute. A stacked lineup made the field in Ottawa, Tennessee, as the honors course. The number 2 Auburn Tigers will have to go through 6 other teams in the top 25, 4 of which are SEC schools, proving just how competitive the conference will be.
You may have been used to senior leadership in the men's golf squad, but this season we will see a younger squad. This is the first time the Tigers have started multiple true freshmen in the season opener since 2017.
Out of those freshmen, Jake Albert had the best debut. He finished tied for 28th and shot a total of 5 over 3 rounds. The best performance of the day was Joshua Gilbert by far. The junior got to work and shot 6 under to tie for the first time in the tournament. This is the second tournament win of his career, and the second round gave him the lowest score of 66. Right behind Gilbert this week as a sophomore, Billy Davis. He tied for 8th and shot 2 under. This team as a whole has tied for 2nd place today and shot a total of 5 under as a team. Ole Miss had a dominant victory, shooting 10 under, but you may have noticed that someone is missing from Auburn's lineup. Jackson Arnold Coven was competing at the Pro Tour Championship in Napa Valley, California. The #1 amateur in the world hasn't put his clubs down just a week after the Walker Cup. He shot 16 under par in a different tournament. He started Sunday in 2nd place, only 2 shots back from the lead, and he's in search for his first PGA Tour win. He would end the tournament tied for 4th place. Sports writer Linda Welborn has more for men's tennis and cross country. Linda has said there was a duo who had a strong competition in Montgomery.
Well, John, you would be correct, but my name is Lydia Welborn. Nicholas Heng and Freddie Blades represented the Auburn Tigers well at the Blue-Gray National Tennis Classic last weekend. This was not your traditional tournament, as it was ran in a compass style. This means that a school's doubles team competes, and then the players from that match compete in singles against the same opponent. The goal is to win 2 of the 3 matches to advance. Heng and Blades began with a sweep in the first round, defeating Tulane's doubles and both claiming a singles win. On Saturday, they would do the same to Boise State's squad, winning their doubles 8-5. The pair of captains would finish the tournament as runner-ups after losing in doubles to Clemson 8-7. Nicholas Heng would go on to lose to Clemson as well. This would make Freddie Blades win against Clemson's Manuel Plunger, the only win on the final day of competition. From the court to the open field, men's cross country made their 2nd appearance at the Southern Showcase. The men's team finished 4th out of 48 teams. Nixon Chevy was the leading contributor to the team's 149 points. He finished 7th overall and crossed the line at the 23:30 mark. If you are thinking this was a lot more time than last week, they were running an 8K in comparison to the 5K they ran last week. Max Harden trailed closely again with a time of 24 flat and a finish at 17th. After their first 2 performances, the men's cross-country team has earned national attention, being ranked number 6 in the South region. That's our update on men's sports, but they have some trivia for you back at the desk for you to think about during the break.
I know it's fall, but we want to keep Auburn softball on the mind. How many times will Auburn play at home in fall exhibition matches? I'll give you a hint. They will have 7 exhibition games, and that is it. Is it A, 3, B, 4, C, 5, or D, 6? We'll have the answer for you when we come back, and you also got to hear from Lydia again as we begin the Women's Watch.
We have the answer to the trivia question John asked before the break. To recap, he asked, how many times will Auburn play at home in their fall expedition games? It is A, 3, B, 4, C, 5, or D, 6. If you guessed the letter D, you'd be correct. Auburn softball will play 6 of their 7 expedition games at home. That gives the Auburn fans plenty of opportunities to watch them from Jane B. Moore Field. They also recently announced their SEC schedule. They will open up SEC play against the University of Kentucky in early March, and their series against the University of Alabama will be at home this season. While that SEC opener will not come until March, the soccer team just finished their SEC opener, and Lydia has the story.
That's right, Barrett. The women's soccer team traveled to Ole Miss last Friday. The match would end in a draw, Auburn's 2nd one of the 2025 season. Despite having 28 shots and having possession of the ball for 60% of the game, the Tigers only had 1 score against the Rebels. Auburn's goal would come in the first 7 minutes of play from Grace Ivy. This was Ivy's first goal as a Tiger. She spent her last 2 years of college eligibility at Texas A&M after transferring to Auburn. Ole Miss would come back and score in the 29th minute, and the game was quiet from there. Speaking of Texas A&M, the Tigers will play their military appreciation match at home versus the Aggies. The Auburn Tigers are still in search of their first SEC win. Be sure to catch the game in the Auburn Soccer Complex this Thursday. Now, let's talk some women's cross country. The women's cross-country team competed last Friday in the Southern Showcase against the Jackson State Gamecocks. Jean Cassetti led the Lady Tigers to a 7th-place finish with 248 points. She ran a time of 17:15 in the 5K race, finishing in 23rd place. Another star that stood out was Katie McPhail. She crossed the 5K finish line in 17:30, ending in 38th place. If that tells you how large the field was, 15 seconds separated 23rd and 38th place. We won't see either the men's or women's teams in action again for about a month. They will compete in the Crimson Classic, and yes, it is the Crimson you're thinking of. They will run in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Let's transition to the court now, where Barrett is going to break down some Auburn volleyball.
Lydia, Auburn volleyball has not slowed down. The Lady Tigers hosted last Tuesday. Steady from start to finish, the Tigers swept Virginia in the ACC matchup. This was the first ever showdown at the Net Challenge that featured 16 ACC teams and 16 SEC teams going head-to-head. The result was a tie as the conferences won 8 games respectively. For more specifics on Auburn's outing, Graham Bauer has the courtside details.
This evening at Neville Arena, Auburn University goes head-to-head in a volleyball matchup against the University of Virginia. Let's roll the highlights. Auburn dominated this matchup, sweeping the University of Virginia 3-0. However, the score doesn't trump the competitiveness throughout the game between these two teams. In the second and third set, there were a combined 21 ties in the score and 9 lead changes. Defense was a huge component in determining who was going to win. Auburn had 10 blocks this game, 5 of which coming from senior Belle Zimmerman, comparing that to only 3 blocks that Virginia had as a team. These defensive plays kept the momentum going for the Tigers. Now, as much as people say defense wins championships, sophomore Lauren Dreves and redshirt senior Liz Markovska proved that offense is a very important aspect as well. Dreves had 10 kills and Markovska clocked in 11, pushing the Auburn score upward through the game, breaking either ties or increasing their lead. As the game came to an end, the University of Virginia was barely trailing the Tigers, but they didn't have enough gas in the tank to make a full comeback and lost the third and final set, 21-25. The Auburn Tigers took the win at home and advanced to a 5-1 record. Auburn University takes home the win tonight, sweeping the University of Virginia 3-0. I'm Graham Bauer, Eagle Eye TV.
Following that win, Auburn volleyball would be in action again to face Florida State University. Liz Markovska would have 17 kills, 8 digs, and 5 blocks in that matchup. In addition to that powerful punch, Coach Brent Crouch recorded his 75th win at Auburn. Auburn would advance to 6-1 and record 17 blocks in their sweep. The Tigers still have sweet memories playing the Seminoles at home. Last season, they beat Florida State when they were ranked 15th in the country. That would be the first of the 2 top 25 victories in Neville since last season. We are not repeating ourselves. After sweeping FSU at home, the Tigers would then travel to Tallahassee to play them again. This was a home series that proved your environment matters. Going into this match, Kate Mansfield would lead the SEC in blocks, and defensively, the Tigers were on fire. Alexis DeCosca noticed 25 digs, a career best for her. However, service errors were an issue for the Tigers and the strength for the Seminoles. Auburn would drop this match 1-3. They came out strong in the first set, but could not win the following 3. They will hit the court again on Thursday, making a short trip up to the road to UAB. Lydia, I know we heard about the Blue-Gray National Tennis Classic earlier, but what do we know from the women's side?
Well, Barrett, what we know that Eva Esposito and Alice Bassetti were the big storyline. The women competed in the same style of tournament as the men did. On day 1, the pair didn't drop a singles match to advance, despite their loss in doubles to LSU. On Saturday, they would lose, with only Eva Esposito beating Iowa State in her singles match. On the final day of play, however, they would claim third after sweeping Ole Miss. The duo would win their doubles and both of their singles competitions. Both the men's and women's teams will compete next weekend in the ITA All-American Championships. The men will be headed to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the women will travel to Cary, North Carolina. Although they are headed in opposite directions, we will look to see an upward trajectory from both teams. While we are talking about what's coming up, I have an update on women's golf. Next Monday and Tuesday, the women's golf team will be competing at the Canadian Invitational Collegiate. This takes place at the Beacon Hill Golf Club, and we will have an update on that during next week's show. That's all you'll hear from me as we both finish up the men's minute and the women's watch. But the trivia we warned you about earlier is back.
Yes, earlier I told you to take some notes because now we have some Auburn football trivia. The question is, how many consecutive sold-out games does Auburn football currently have in a row? Is it A, 10, B, 12, C, 17, or D, 20? John has the answer for you when we come back, and you'll hear from a special guest who was in the studio last week. We have a feature story on a member of one of the Auburn's hottest teams after this.
In our final segment, we have some special storylines before the break. Barrett asked a trivia question: how many consecutive sold-out games does Auburn football currently have in a row? Is it A, 10, B, 12, C, 17, or D, 20? The correct answer is 17. Stretches back to last season and foresee even more sellouts in Auburn continue to be a ranked team. The number one recruit in the nation of 2025, according to American Junior Golf Association, is Logan Riley. The freshman just competed in his first collegiate tournament, but we know that you might not know as much about him. Producer Sophia had a chance to speak with him, and hopefully that gives you a better picture of an Auburn athlete with a list of accolades.
All right, we have a fresh face joining us from the Auburn men's golf team, Logan Riley from Lovettsville, Virginia. He's in the studio today. And Logan, first question I just want to ask you is, what was kind of the draw to Auburn and to join Coach Kleinwood's squad?
It was a mix of everything, honestly. The resources they have here, the facilities, the golf courses, everything's great. The guys on the team are fantastic, and the coaching staff's, I think, the best in the country. So the mix of all that combined definitely brought me here, and just like the vibe on the campus, like football games and everything, I loved it. So
yeah. Okay, and then kind of what's the preparation look like? You're going into kind of your first collegiate match with the team at the honors course in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's been good so far. I think we've been here like about a month, so we've had all our workouts every week, and that's helped us get stronger and everything like that. And we've had a bunch of team practices, competitions, just competing against each other, which kind of simulates the tournament. And we've also just finished up qualifying, so that was good. And we got to play against each other and actually have a tournament feel. So yeah.
Is that kind of fun in practice, like to kind of compete against each other?
Yeah, the practices are super fun when you're doing like competitions against each other, and like the last place has to like fill divots or do something. So yeah, it's gives you some motivation for sure.
No, that's awesome. And kind of like going along with that, I think people see golf, it obviously is such a mental sport, and you're kind of out there by yourself. But how do you kind of see like this team dynamic playing into you playing out the collegiate?
Yeah, it'll be a new thing for me. Obviously, I played high school golf, but it's not near the same level as this. So I think it'll be fun playing not only for yourself, but also the logo on your chest. So I think that's going to be cool. Like, opportunity to win a team event and individually is something that I've never experienced before, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Can you talk a little bit more about your experience in San Francisco at the U.S. Amateur? Because, if people didn't already know about your name at that point, they really did. You kind of, turned some heads there.
Yeah, that was a super fun experience. It was at the Olympic Club in San Francisco, which was super nice. I played really good the first 2 days in strike play. I was the 4 seed, so the top 64 going to match play, and I unfortunately lost the first match, but it was a fun week overall, and that was definitely the biggest tournament I've played in so far, and I played good in it, so definitely gave me some confidence heading into the season.
Yeah, what did your coaches kind of give you back as feedback from that?
They were just those are the best players in the world, so to compete against all of them pretty high level, so it was great. They just told me to keep going and use that as motivation to go forward.
Yeah. Okay, so to kind of wrap this up, we want to do some fun rapid fire questions. So you're just going to answer these as quick as possible. So we're going to go first. Do you have any superstitions or pre-round rituals?
I always use a quarter as my ball mark. That's one thing. I'll never use anything else, just a quarter. Okay. So
yeah. Okay. Favorite golf course you've ever played on?
Briar's Head in Long Island.
Okay. Putting or driving?
Driving.
Okay. Favorite place to eat in Auburn? I know you haven't been here very long. So what would you say?
So far, the first month, probably Taco Mama.
Okay, that's a good one. I love it there. Okay, who's your role model?
That's a tough one. I like Ricky Fowler.
Ooh, okay. Favorite club in your bag?
Gap wedge.
Okay, all right. Different answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the funniest person on your team that you talk to?
That's a tough one. I think it's either Caden Pope or Tyler Spielman. They're both pretty funny.
Okay. And then, would you rather have Toomer's Lemonade or roll Toomer's Corner?
Roll Toomer's Corner.
Okay. Yeah. And Auburn won if that happened. Yeah. Okay. And what's your favorite sport to watch besides golf?
I like watching football for sure.
Okay, and
Yeah.
Auburn just not ranked. Probably
Yeah.
feels pretty good to come here.
Oh, yeah,
Wasn't necessarily expecting that, but
Great
that's
time
awesome.
to be here. For
Yeah,
sure.
were you at the last game?
I was.
Okay,
I went
yeah,
last Saturday.
yeah, that's
That was fun.
awesome.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all the time we have with Logan today. Thank you, Logan, for joining us. Good luck on your season, and welcome to the Auburn family.
Thank you so much.
Auburn has athletics competing on the biggest stage. We believe Logan Riley's time will come, but for Auburn's track and field athletes, that time is now.
2 athletes competing for Nigeria in the 100-meter, Kawahi Aljehi and Israel Icon. What else do they have in common besides representing Nigeria? They also representing Auburn. Israel Icon raced a 10-4 to win his preliminary heat and to qualify for the semifinal round. He would not advance beyond that.
Sola Ajayi ran a 9:88 in the prelims to win his heat. This is also his personal best and the second fastest time of the round. In the semifinals, he ran a 9:93. The only person ahead of him was Noah Lyles, defending the Olympic champion. Finally, on his birthday, he ran 10 seconds flats to be the first Nigerian in the finals in 18 years. He would claim a 6th-place finish in the men's 100-meter race.
Our final update from the World of Athletics Championships is Jacoby Tharp, who would finish 3rd in his prelims to qualify for the semifinals, running a 13:28 in the 110-meter hurdles. We talked about the Auburn family. This is what we mean. His teammates at home watched from the weight room. Track and field team watching from his semifinal performance. In the finals, Tharp finished 6th in the men's 110-meter hurdles with a time of 13:31. He placed the best by the Auburn American student athlete at the World Championships in an individual event.
That's all we have in store for you today. For more Sports Night in Auburn and Eagle Eye sports content, follow our Instagram and our Twitter pages. Make sure to subscribe right here on YouTube and tune in every single week. My name is Barrett Brown.
For all of us here in the Eagle Eye studio, Linda, Micah, and everyone behind the camera, our producer, Sophia Weber, Madison Seidel, John Prowell, this has been Sports Night in Auburn. Good night.
War Eagle.